It's starting to look like a pattern, one that's hard to ignore. Buckingham Palace has just confirmed that a major royal, Prince Edward, will soon embark on an official tour of Ghana. And while this may sound like just another royal engagement on paper, the timing is anything but coincidental. This announcement comes only months after reports that Prince Harry and Meghan Sussex were eyeing a visit to the same country, a visit that tabloids mockingly described as a faux royal tour. So let's be honest, what are the odds? For years, the palace and certain British media circles have seemed obsessed with shadowing and reclaiming every space the Sussexes step into. Every time Harry and Meghan plan something meaningful, suddenly a senior royal pops up with a similar itinerary, an almost mirrored mission, and the unmistakable air of competition. It's no longer just coincidence. It's an upstage attempt, a deliberate effort to remind the world who the official royals are supposed to be. But the thing is, no matter how many tours Buckingham Palace announces, the authenticity, global relevance, and emotional connection that Harry and Meghan Sussex bring to their causes cannot be replicated. The palace might have the press machinery, but the Sussexes have the heart. And that's something no carefully timed announcement can buy. When news first surfaced that Harry and Meghan were considering a private humanitarian visit to Ghana, it made perfect sense. Africa has always been central to their story. It's where Harry found healing after his mother's death. It's where the couple first fell in love. It's where their joint charitable work, from wildlife conservation to women's empowerment, continues to leave a lasting mark. Their bond with the continent is deeply personal and heartfelt. But instead of celebrating or even acknowledging that connection, what happened? The usual media chorus dismissed it as a faux royal tour, as though their passion for service becomes meaningless the moment they're not operating under the palace's control. And now, months later, Buckingham Palace conveniently confirms a new official visit to Ghana. Led not by Harry, the prince who has dedicated years of his life to African communities, but by Prince Edward, whose name rarely stirs public enthusiasm or global headlines. So let's not pretend this timing is innocent. The palace announcement feels like a thinly veiled strategy, a calculated move to upstage the Sussexes, to reassert royal dominance in spaces that Harry and Meghan once brought new light to. This is not the first time we've seen such mimicry. Whenever Harry and Meghan Sussex champion something, whether it's mental health, environmental awareness, or community empowerment, the palace suddenly springs into action with a new initiative that conveniently echoes the same themes. Meghan starts advocating for women's empowerment through her SmartWorks project, and months later, royal aides announce similar patronages for other senior royals. Harry builds Invictus Games for veterans, and the palace begins amplifying its long-forgotten military causes. It's as if the royal family, especially its inner machinery, can't stand the idea that the couple they once sidelined continues to command global respect without the royal stamp of approval. And now, Ghana becomes the next stage of this quiet tug-of-war. The timing speaks volumes. Harry and Meghan Sussex have long expressed their desire to focus on international humanitarian work, not for titles, but for impact. Their potential trip to Ghana was rumoured to include charity partnerships, youth programmes, and discussions on sustainable development. Yet, before those plans could even unfold, Buckingham Palace rushes to announce an official royal visit to the same nation. It's as if someone inside the institution keeps watch, waiting for the perfect opportunity to overshadow them. The problem with these palace manoeuvres is that they expose a troubling insecurity within the institution itself. Instead of leading with authenticity, the monarchy keeps reacting to Harry and Meghan. The Sussexes left the royal fold years ago, seeking independence, privacy, and purpose. Yet it seems the palace can't stop following their every move, desperate to reclaim headlines, to prove that the crown still outshines the couple who dared to walk away. What makes it even more glaring is the lack of originality in these official tours. When Harry and Meghan visited Southern Africa in 2019, their impact was seismic. The crowds, the conversations, the causes, it all felt alive, modern, and emotionally real. Meghan Sussex connected with women and youth in ways few royals ever have. Her speeches weren't stiff or scripted, they were warm, honest, and grounded in shared humanity. Harry, meanwhile, continued his deep-rooted work on conservation and mental health, building on relationships he had nurtured for years. The 2019 tour wasn't about photo ops or formalities, it was about service. That's what made it powerful. Fast forward to today, and we see Buckingham Palace trying to recreate that energy, only without the authenticity that made the Sussexes' work resonate globally. Prince Edward's Ghana visit may carry the label of official, but can anyone truly say it inspires the same excitement or public interest? Or is it yet another example of the monarchy trying to borrow relevance from Harry and Meghan's shadow? If anything, the palace's strategy only reinforces what many people already see, that Harry and Meghan have become the true symbols of modern royal purpose, with or without the titles. While the institution clings to ceremony and hierarchy, the Sussexes continue to build their legacy through real impact, compassion, and independence. And perhaps that's exactly what makes the palace uncomfortable. When Meghan Sussex walks into a community, people listen, not because she's a duchess, but because she's authentic. She relates, she uplifts, she uses her platform to amplify others instead of herself. When Harry visits a veterans centre or speaks about mental health, people see sincerity, a man who's lived it, felt it, and turned his pain into purpose. Together, they've built a brand of humanity that transcends the royal mould. So when Buckingham Palace tries to reclaim that same territory, it only ends up highlighting the gap between performance and passion. Let's not forget that Africa has always been a meaningful thread in Harry's life. He once called it his second home. From founding Sentebale in Lesotho to supporting anti-poaching initiatives, Harry's commitment runs deep. And Meghan Sussex, with her grace and global perspective, complements that mission perfectly. Their rumoured Ghana visit wasn't about spectacle, it was about continuing that heartfelt connection. Meanwhile, the palace's announcement feels transactional, almost hollow, a move made for optics rather than empathy. It's a PR counterattack disguised as royal duty, and ironically, by trying to upstage Harry and Meghan, the institution only ends up reaffirming their influence. Because if the Sussexes were truly irrelevant, as critics love to claim, why would Buckingham Palace feel the need to keep chasing their footsteps? Why mimic their tours, echo their causes, and time announcements so precisely after their plans leak? The pattern speaks louder than any press release ever could. At this point, the palace should realise that the world has changed. People no longer fall for the idea that titles automatically equal moral leadership. Influence today comes from authenticity, and that's exactly what Meghan and Harry embody. Their appeal doesn't rely on palaces or pageantry, it comes from purpose. Buckingham Palace can continue announcing tour after tour, but what it can't replicate is heart. It can't fake the kind of emotional connection Harry and Meghan Sussex bring to every room they enter. And if anything, the Ghana announcement only exposes how deeply the institution still revolves around them. The very people the monarchy once pushed away are now the benchmark for relevance. That's the irony of it all. The Sussexes' independence has made them more globally impactful than they ever were inside the royal machine. So yes, Buckingham Palace can send Prince Edward on his official Ghana tour. The headlines will roll in, the cameras will flash, and the palace will pat itself on the back for another symbolic gesture of Commonwealth unity. But beneath all the formal smiles and rehearsed speeches, everyone will know what's really going on, a tired, transparent, upstage attempt to outshine Harry and Meghan Sussex. It's time the palace learned that competition won't bring back the magic it lost. You can't manufacture what comes naturally to Harry and Meghan: empathy, connection, and authenticity. Those qualities don't need a royal itinerary. They live in every project, every handshake, every story shared by the couple who chose purpose over protocol. And as the world watches yet another royal tour unfold, one truth will quietly echo beneath the headlines. The Sussexes don't need the palace to shine, but the palace seems to need them to stay relevant. Because even when Buckingham Palace tries to upstage them, Harry and Meghan Sussex remain the real standard bearers of modern royalty. Not through titles, but through truth.